channel is Programming in Any Language. The supporting website is www.black-duck.com. The video is Text Processing Hacking Part 1. After learning all the text processing methods available to you in C#, it's difficult to understand why you might need them all. At least at first. Well, think of them as drill bits or screwdriver bits or a set of sockets for a socket wrench. In other words, they are tools. And some of those tools will get used more than others. Some you might never use. So it isn't necessary to master them right away. Rather, knowing that they exist is what you want. That way, when you run into a situation where you might need one of them, you'll be able to figure out how to use the tool. This video deals with that. We're going to look at the Formula One Schedule 2024 website in an effort to extract a concise calendar of events for our own personal use. You are seeing that website behind me right now. How we're going to build this calendar, we don't know. The web page is an HTML document that we're going to extract to a text file, and that part is pretty easy. It will have over 5,000 lines of data in it, most of which we won't need. We'll want the dates and location of every race in 2024, but that's all we want. How we do this is the big question because this is a unique problem we're going to try to solve. Basically, we're going to use text processing methods to reduce the amount of data in the HTML document to just the lines of data we need. Then we're going to use more text processing tools to extract just the data we need from the selected lines. We're hacking here. We have no rules. We need to analyze the data to determine what we need. We need to find the pattern in the HTML data that will allow us to find the data we need. Here's how I approach that problem. Back when I first started working with text processing and doing videos for text processing, I talked about something called being able to get in there with all your tools and pull stuff from weird places and put stuff together and chop it up. And I showed an example of the Formula One schedule for 2024. And right here's a picture of what the website looked like. It had a bunch of things on it. This is, I think, a more recent picture maybe because they've got some winners and losers here, whatever. You can pull this up beginning of the year, and it tells you where the races are going to be, what dates they're on, and so on down the line. And my thoughts of this would be I'd love to be able to get a hold of the races and put them into a small packet where I can just look at a calendar and see all the different races with one sheet instead of scrolling down this huge website. I can take it with me and put it on my phone or on my, on a text file or whatever, and just have it up on a calendar basis. So I thought it'd be a good example of showing you how you can use text processing to actually get at the data. Now, it requires some hacking. And it requires using all the different tools we've had in text processing, which are pretty large. We've got a bunch of things we can actually do with that. First thing you got to do is you got to get the data. So while you're looking at the Formula One Schedule 2024 sitting over here, we end up having to get the data from the web page. And you get that by actually going out to the web page and pulling it forward and getting the HTML. Hey, let me show you real quickly. We'll just grab something. I think I've got a picture over here someplace. We'll pull up a website here and we'll just do a Formula One F1. There it is, Grand Prix races. This is it, right? And here's your page. And all that stuff's there. They got a bunch of races already done. There's more of it coming, that kind of stuff. But if you right click on this and you view the page source, you get the HTML data. This goes way off onto the side. It's huge. There's a whole bunch of characters there. If I start scrolling over, you can see where it just goes on forever. Quite a bit of stuff on here. So you end up getting this, and you can save that into a text file. And when you get a text file, it sits in Notepad looking like this. It's got line numbers on this. But are these records or what? We don't really know what the heck these things are. And the important thing is we have to get a hold of this data. How are we going to get at this stuff? When you look at it, what, IE dot equals edge, official calendar. It's Schedule 1 2024 sitting here. And here we've got something like Formula One, cruises. That makes no sense to us. So you got to kind of figure what you actually want to do, what you want to look at. I want to create something like this, a Formula One calendar that would have the month, the start and end of the exercise, and the location where it's at. Sakir, February 21st and 23rd, they're going to be practicing, basically, as a practice. Then Bahrain is the first race. It's in February-March area, so it's February 29th. It ends in March 2nd. So the race will actually be, the final race is actually on March 2nd when we look at this. So this would give us, this is the kind of thing I want to create. Now, how do we create that? By extracting that data and getting rid of all the rest of that stuff out of here. We've got to look at the data. We want to take this data right here, and we want to read it into a program to try to get the idea of just what it's going to look like. How do we do that? Well, we need to create something that might work for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a program that's going to help us debug this thing and figure out what we want to actually pull on this thing. So the first thing I want to know is what kind of records do we have out in our file? Is it one record? Is it a bunch? Who knows? So the best way to do that is to read that in to a program to kind of determine what we've got here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a bunch of information. I've actually got another setup over here. I'm going to pull my stuff and put it in here rather than use the toolbox. I'm going to put a bunch of things on here. And what I've got here is I've got a list box. And I've got records read, records found, and I got a read file button here. I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. And bring this down a little bit. Yeah, let's do this like this. We'll format this. And it's to line their bottoms. Now they're looking pretty good here. My exit button is going to be called button exit. My read file is going to be called button read file. My LBX records is going to be a list box, and it's going to be called LBX records. I've got a label called records read. I don't have anything named here because I'm going to use this label too. Is fine. I'm not putting anything in there. And records found is going to be sitting over here. And I've got this thing is going to be called, this little text box right here, or label is going to be called label records read. So I'm going to find out the number of records I've read here. I don't know how many there are out on this text file. And I've got records found here. I want to figure out what I'm going to do with this. And it'll tell me how many records I actually found. What is that needed for? Well, we'll take a look and we'll see what's going to be going on there. So that we'll use this to find how many records are out there. And records found, we're trying to look for certain kinds of records. So we're just kind of thinking this thing through right now. So what am I going to do? So the first thing I want to do is I want to read a file to see what I get. That's really what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go to my read file routine here and click on it once, and it gives me my button read file. I'm going to create a method because I don't want to clutter this thing up. But what I want to do is I want to read F1 data. Put it in like that. That's going to be my call read file routine. And then I'm going to actually create that. So I'm going to actually set private void read F1 data and put in my breakpoint. That creates my method that I'm going to have here. So what am I going to do with this? Well, my read file routine is going to go ahead and it's going to, the first thing it's going to do, it's going to have something called str string record. String str record. That's what it's going to hold. In fact, let's give it a little label out here and call it. That's what's going to holds a record from disk. It might hold everything, it might hold something. I don't know what's going to be in this thing. I'm just kind of, but I want to grab it and see what I've got here. Then we're going to have a try. And we're going to go ahead and read the file. We're also going to have a catch in here. So we're going to go ahead and fill that in right away. And the catch will be catch exception EX. And it's going to have its little thing here. And what's that thing going to do? Well, the exception EX is going to basically be a message box. That's going to say message box dot show ex dot message. So if we have any kind of an error in reading the file not found or anything, it'll tell us. It'll tell us what it's got, and that'll be it. This will be a system message. So what we're going to do in the try piece right here. Well, up here we actually want to go ahead and read the file. So we're going to say we want our stream writer to be turned on here. So we're going to say stream reader Stream reader is input file. That's going to set our input file. Then we're going to say input file is going to be equal to file.openText. And we're going to call this thing F1 source HTML.text. This will be the file we're actually bringing in that we captured when we actually captured the HTML file. So point to input file. What does it look like? Well, when we copied it to disk, it looked like this. We don't know what's in here. We just know it's a text file right now. We've got a bunch of stuff in here, all sitting out there. And most of the stuff we're not going to use. And it goes quite a ways in. If you just keep going down this thing, there's all kinds of stuff in here that we don't want. And text processing can be the name of the game to get rid of this stuff. So we have to get rid of it all. So look at all this stuff. It's a ton of stuff. We're going to get rid of that and see what we've got here. And how do we do that? Well, we go ahead and we use a while statement. We're going to do a while statement right in here. And we're going to say while input file dot end of stream is set equal to false. We're going to do some stuff. And what is that stuff going to be? Well, let's get rid of this. Make ourselves a little more room here. Well, we're going to say str record is going to be an input file read line. We're going to basically take this variable we created here, and we're going to read a line of text into it. What's it going to grab from that text file we saw before? That I don't know. It might grab a whole bunch of stuff. It might grab a line at a time. I don't know how it's formatted out there. This is going to tell us. It's going to allow us to see what we actually have out there. We might have one giant variable, all the stuff in it. And then we'll have to parse that out to find out what our data is. On the other hand, it might be some lines of code, and we can maybe look and see what we've got in there. So it's going to bring this in. So this is going to basically read a line of text. This might be the only one it sees, but we don't know that. And then we're going to say we're going to take it and stick that into our list box. LBX records dot items dot add str record. Place record in list box. Let's give us a chance to see what we actually have there. And that's going to loop around and do its thing until it's all done. It might do it once and it's got everything. On the other hand, it might do it a bunch of times and get everything else there. What's it going to grab? Well, we don't know right now, so let's go ahead and do this. What I want to do is when it's all done, I want to go ahead and I want to do some counting here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up in here into before it says string record here. And I'm going to create something. I'm going to say I would like to have int records is equal to 0. And this is going to be set record count to 0. I'm also going to set something called int records found equals to 0. Set records found to 0. And what I'm going to do here? Well, what I'm going to do is when the thing's all done here, and it's done reading what it has to read, I'm going to go ahead and say I want my input file dot close. Did I spell string wrong again? I did. Input file dot close. I'll close my input file. Then I'm going to say LBL records read dot text is equal to int records to string display record count. Okay, now what I got to do? Let's go ahead and save this, what I've got so far right here. And if we run this, I think it's going to blow up right now. But if we run it, we're going to look like this. And I'll do the read file thing here. And yeah, I get an error because it doesn't know where the program is that I've actually, it's looking for the F1 HTML text file. I need to put that someplace in there in the debug folder. And we'll do that right now. So we'll click OK on this thing and get exit, but it got out nicely. Exit's not functioning. We didn't program that yet, so we'll do that. I want to go ahead and pull up my folder that it's sitting in. That's sitting right over here. And where's my folder? I think I've got it sitting in here in the sandbox. I've got a thing. Here it is. Source. I'm going to do a copy of this. Control C. I'll back up. I'm going to this presentation folder that I've got here. That's where I'm creating this Hacking F1 program. Go into there as my solution file. Here's my Hacking F1 folder, and there's my bin folder. There's my debug folder, and inside this thing we'll do a paste. And there goes F1 source HTML.txt. So we've got that thing in there now. So we can pull this out of the way. And we called it F1 source HTML right in our code. So we're going to go ahead and save this again. We're going to do a start and do our read file. And we've got data. It read the data. It didn't tell me how many records read. Why didn't it do? Because I didn't do a count on that thing. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's put that in place real quickly. So let's go back to our program. Let's do our exit routine real quickly and do a close form. This.close close file. And then we're going to also go in here and we're going to say we also want to be able to count this thing, so we need that piece right in here. So we'll go into our code again. And what we didn't do is every time we do this, we want to be able to count this thing. So this while it's going on, we need to increase the count. So where do we do that? Well, we do it right here. Our string record is in there, so we're going to go right in here and we're going to say we added that to the count record, so we're going to say input int records found and plus it. Increment counter. And that should do, that allows us to take our int records to int records a string. No, not int records found. We want int records. Yeah, we got this in the wrong spot. We want to go. Oh, I see. Okay, we do want to have this here, and we want to put something in here. We're going to put every time. Let's see. Let's just do int records. That's all we need to count. We're not going to use the found thing just yet. Yeah, so that's going to do it for us. We'll do a file save, and we'll do a start. We'll do a read. 5,875 records were found here, and this is what it's actually showing us. We can slide this down because we can see all the stuff that we've got in here. This means we now know what we've got. We've got individual records, 5,875 of them. We don't need many. We're going to be creating a calendar. We've got maybe, 20 lines of items. We're going to have dates in there and the location. That's it. So we're going to get rid of everything else that's in there except the things we want to create our little program that's going to have our stuff in there. Well, how do we do that? We need to find out exactly what we want. So what we might do is we might start taking a picture of this kind of thing and analyzing what we're actually looking at. And if you look at this, if you look what we're trying to find here, we're trying to find the location, the date, and the 21 and 23, whatever the dates are, the start and the end of this thing, so we can actually see what we're actually looking for. What does it look like on the website? It looks like this. There's 21, 23 so sitting here. Feb is sitting here. Here's Feb, March. And here's Bahrain. Here's Secure. So the locations are showing up in this website. Now we just need to figure out how we're going to find that. Well, we can look at this thing by highlighting stuff. We can look at, we got round 1 here, Bahrain, 2024. Bahrain is sitting here. That's helping us to some degree. At least it tells us we can look at, here's 29 and 02. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Where does that look like from the 29 and 02? That's our February, March. That's Bahrain. So this is showing us our round 1 is showing here. Testing. Round 1, round 2, round 3. This might be a clue of where we're actually going here. Don't know for sure yet, but we'll figure it out. So we're going to go here and analyze our data. We've got our 29 to 02 here. Let's go in a little deeper. And if we take a look at this, we've got something called round 1 is showing us 29, 28. Here's Feb, March. So that date is showing up here, and this is the Bahrain thing. So we're looking at 29 to 02. February, March is popping up, and Formula 1 is showing up, and where's Bahrain showing up? I'm not sure. But if you look at something here, we've got a start date. We have an end date. And here we've got a month wrapper. Okay, interesting. Month wrapper. We've got a title. Let's go a little further. We start looking at these people right here. We took another picture of our program, and we had both month wrapper, F1-wide, XXX, and Feb. Month wrapper wide, here's Feb, March. Here's March. Here's March again. So we're looking at, here's, in fact, you can see here's Secure, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Australia. So it's telling us the months these things are going to be in. So this tells us, well, we can use the month wrapper to be able to find the line that has the month in it. So by checking for this, we might be able to get something out of this. Okay, that's cool to know. What else we got? Well, here's the bank start date, end date. Here's a start date, an end date, uppercase April, May, June. And here we go, Secure, event place D block, Bahrain, event place D block, Saudi Arabia. So what we're finding is we're finding commonalities, patterns in the text that's going to help us pull what we're actually looking for. So what I'm thinking right now is I've got a couple keywords here I can use. Anything else on here? Back up. Yes, I can use event place
is going to help me. Month wrapper is going to help me. Start date might help me. Start date, end date. What about location? We need that too. We need that piece. Let's go forward on here. Is it showing up anywhere? Event place, Monaco. Yeah, event place, D-block is going to help us there. So we've got a couple things we can actually use here. So what I can do is I can take this piece and I would like to extract certain things out of here. Can I do that? Yeah, probably so. How do I actually do that? Well, I need to extract just the things I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my program. I'm going to modify this a bit and see that we can't get some of the things we're looking for. So after my input read file routine, where is that thing? Right after string record read line right here, right in here. Once I read this, I'd like to make a decision on it. Decide what to pull. And we're going to put that right here. So I'm going to say if str record dot contains, and we're using one of our text processing functions, event place. That should be all I need for starters here. And I want to do something with that. What I want to do, this is where I'm going to say my int records found is being increased to 1. I'm going to start to use that. And then I'm going to move this into this. So I'm going to make this part of my routine. So let's see what we got here. File save all. I'm looking for something that contains event place. We'll start it. We're going to read all that data again. It found, oops, I have to modify this a little bit. Records read is going to be, records read is read line. This is probably where I'm going to want my records read increased. In fact, we're not increasing records read, are we? Yeah, it's right here. That should be right under this because it's reading the records. But the count, records found, is going to be increased here. And then I'm going to display not only record count, but I'm going to LABL records found dot text is going to be records found to string. Display how many found. So our found is going to be based on the if statement. We're only looking for event place things right now. File save. Read the file. 5,875 records were processed. We ran through those. 25 of them contain the word event place. And it's got secure in it, it's got Bahrain, it's got all the places that the races are going to take place. Well, that's good. That tells us we've got that stuff. Well, that's kind of interesting. What else do we want to find out? We also want to find, we have the event place here. We also want to find the month wrapper F1 wide. Oh, that's interesting. What can we actually use to find that thing? Well, maybe it's the month wrapper will do it for us. That's all we really need. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll change this if statement to include, we'll say or str record dot contains. This time I want to look at month wrapper. And if we check this out, file save all, run it. Oh, we got everybody. What's going on here? Or, let's check this out again. What's this doing here? We don't want the semicolon. That's what I screwed up. That was an error on my part. Let's try this now. Save all. Much better. 5,875 records read. And we've got 50 records found. And you look on it, we've got month wrapper, we've got event place. So those things are found. Here's our February scan. Here's our February-March scan, or March. So we're getting the month numbers to pop out of here in this data. So next thing we want to do is grab something else. We got the month wrapper, start date, end date. Where's that showing? Anything else in here? Yeah. Start date, end date. Let's grab that. We're going to make this thing a little long. We got to go inside the parentheses again. We'll say or str record contains start date dash DATE. Give us a little more room as we can see what we're doing. That's good. Okay. Or str record dot contains end date. And the closing parentheses. So now we're looking for the dates. I'll save as, save all, run it, read the file. We now have 76 records found out of that batch. There's our start date coming in, 2123. Okay, start and end date. And we've got something that has a start and end date in it. Here it is, start date 29, end date 2. So that's finding that. We've got the event place, we've got the month wrapper, and the start date. If we got it all, we may have everything we need, which is really 76 records to go ahead and create our little data thing. Is there anything else we're missing? No, that should do it for us. That gives us a start on being able to find everything we're actually looking for. So what do we want to do? Well, now that we have that in place, we want to be able to kind of figure out how we're actually going to extract this data. And we'll want to do this one piece at a time. So right now we've got all the data we need. We have, run this again. We have 76 pieces of data in this file. So we're going to want to go through this and pull stuff out. What should we do with it? That's what we have to think about next. How we're going to actually put this all together and extract the data we need so we can grab it and concatenate our data.
Well, the first step is done. We've extracted the HTML lines that contain the data we need to produce our personal calendar. Now we must figure out how we are going to extract data like the race location from the HTML line. Same with the start date and end date, as well as the month. We'll start doing that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Visit the website when you get a chance, and please subscribe to the channel. There's more stuff coming every week. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.